Hello, all you freedom-loving people. President Trump's talk with Putin went very well today. He also signed the Take It Down Act, criminalizing deepfake and revenge porn, and Kristi Noem scored a big win with a SCOTUS ruling. Okay, let's get into it. President Joe Biden's office issued a statement on Sunday saying that Biden has been diagnosed with prostate cancer. His office stated on May 16th he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, characterized by a Gleason score of 9, grade group 5, with a metastasis to the bone. This diagnosis comes after a small node was found in the former president's prostate after a routine physical exam last Tuesday. Prostate cancer is the most common cancer and the second leading cause of cancer death among men in the U.S., according to the NIH. About 98% of prostate cancer patients survive for 5 years after diagnosis. It is generally a more treatable type of cancer, even when it has spread further. The Gleason score refers to how likely the cancer is to advance and spread. The scores usually range from 6 to 10. Biden's diagnosis of a Gleason score of 9 indicates his cancer is aggressive. It indicates that the cancer cells look very different from normal prostate cells, and they are likely to grow and spread rapidly, but it does not predict the outcome. Both Democrats and Republicans, even the former president's fiercest opponents, were quick to offer their condolences and support to the Biden family. President Trump said in a statement on Truth Social, "First Lady Melania and I are saddened to hear about Joe Biden's recent medical diagnosis. We extend our warmest and best wishes to Jill and family, and we wish Joe a fast and successful recovery." Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene said in a post on X, "I'm sorry to see the news. Cancer is truly awful. My dad passed away in 2021 with cancer. Prayers for Joe Biden and his family." And today, President Joe Biden released his first statement after the news broke. He said in a statement posted on X, "Cancer touches us all. Like so many of you, Jill and I have learned that we are strongest in the broken places. Thank you for lifting us up with love and support." Last week, Walmart CEO Doug McMillon said on an earnings call that because tariffs had risen so high, even though tariffs on Chinese goods had been lowered, Walmart was still unable to fully absorb the cost pressures, and they had to pass part of the costs on to the consumer. But President Trump is clearly not happy with Walmart's decision. He scolded the retailer on Truth Social. He wrote, "Walmart should stop trying to blame tariffs as the reason for raising prices throughout the chain. Walmart made billions of dollars last year, far more than expected. Between Walmart and China, they should, as is said, eat the tariffs and not charge valued customers anything. I'll be watching, and so will your customers." About 90% of all U.S. customers shop at Walmart. About 1/3 of Walmart U.S.'s sales are made, grown, and assembled in the United States, but the rest of the merchandise is imported from dozens of countries, notably China, Mexico, Vietnam, India, and Canada. The tariffs have not yet fully impacted retail merchandise, due in part to the fact that many companies stocked up before the tariffs were implemented, or they notified manufacturers to delay shipments. In April, Walmart CEO Doug McMillon, along with other top U.S. retailers, met with President Trump at the White House to discuss tariffs, but President Trump still went ahead with the tariff increase as scheduled. McMillon said that the rising cost of imported goods has been hitting Walmart since April. Even now, when tariffs have finally been reduced to lower levels, some imports have been subjected to levies of up to 145%, yet the retailer still chose to import them, and Walmart chose to pass part of the cost on to the consumers. President Trump is criticizing not only Walmart, but also the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court on Friday agreed to block the government from deporting some alleged Venezuelan gang members under the Alien Enemies Act. The Supreme Court had on April 19th issued a temporary block preventing the Trump administration from deporting some Venezuelan members of a criminal gang. In the new order, the Supreme Court sent the case back to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit. The Supreme Court said that the government did not give the illegal migrants enough time to challenge their proposed removal. The Supreme Court, however, did not rule that the government could not deport these illegal migrants, but merely the government may not transfer detainees under the authority of the Alien Enemies Act. It is said that the government could not remove the detainees under the authority of the Alien Enemies Act, but they may do so under other lawful authority. Justices Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas dissented. Alito wrote, "The Supreme Court had no jurisdiction or authority to act in the case," and Thomas joined the dissent. President Trump criticized the new Supreme Court order on Truth Social. He wrote, "The Supreme Court has ruled that the worst murderers, drug dealers, gang members, and even those who are mentally insane who came into our country illegally are not allowed to be forced out without going through a long, protracted, and expensive legal process, one that will take possibly many years for each person, and one that will allow these people to commit many crimes before they even see the inside of a courthouse. This is a bad and dangerous day for America." But in another concurrent case regarding the deportation of Venezuelan illegal migrants, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the Justice Department. Previously, the DOJ requested the Supreme Court to lift a judge's order that had halted Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's decision. Noem had decided to terminate the deportation protection that was conferred to Venezuelans under the Temporary Protected Status. The Temporary Protected Status, or the TPS program, was instigated at the end of the Biden administration in order to extend protections for almost 350,000 Venezuelans. But now the Trump administration can revoke the special legal protections for thousands of Venezuelan migrants, and this could pave the way for them to be deported. Moody's ratings on Friday downgraded the U.S. credit rating one level to AA1 from the top tier of AAA on the expectations of a growing U.S. debt burden, citing the potential for a growing financial burden on the U.S. government in a high-interest rate economic environment. Finance Minister Scott Bessent said in an interview on Sunday that Moody's ratings do not indicate the actual state of the economy. He characterized the Moody's ratings as a lagging indicator of U.S. fiscal health. Lagging indicators respond to changes in economic activity. They are often used to confirm that a change in economic trends has already occurred. And regarding CNN's State of the Union with Jake Tapper on Sunday, he said, "In the history of rating agencies, by the time they get to a downgrade, everything's already in the market." What I think is important is that President Trump has just come back from his historic Middle East trip, and there's trillions of dollars coming into the U.S., so we are seeing confidence from investors. He insisted that what the indicator reflects has nothing to do with the last 100 days of the Trump administration, but everything to do with the previous administration and the spending policies of the last 4 years, and he thinks other countries don't care about the reading either. Instead, investment intentions are a truer reflection of economic aspirations.
President Trump has brought back trillions of investments in the United States. Every stop we made, the enthusiasm in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar, in the United Arab Emirates to invest in the United States, that they want to push more and more their funds here. And if we go back to your initial question on the Moodys downgrade, who cares? Qatar doesn't, Saudi doesn't, UAE doesn't. They're all pushing money in.
In the interview, Bessent said that the U.S. GDP will grow faster than the debt, and this will stabilize the debt-to-GDP ratio, which is the most important figure. And President Trump, meanwhile, pointed out that America now has over $10 trillion of investment.
You're an amazing country. You're a rich country. You can have your choice, but I know you'll never leave my side. And you know the special relationship that we have and our country has. We have now, I think, substantially over $10 trillion of investment. And now when I add the $1.4 trillion, we easily break that number.
Ukraine and Russia met face-to-face on Friday for the first time in 3 years since the war began. Because Russian President Putin was absent, though, a truce was not reached as President Trump predicted. According to the Ukrainian representative, the conditions proposed by the Russian side are totally unacceptable, and according to the Russian side, if a ceasefire is to be implemented, the terms must be clarified in advance, and the West must be asked to stop its military aid to Ukraine. However, the talks were not entirely fruitless. talks, with both sides agreeing to release 1,000 prisoners of war each. So over the weekend, President Trump decided to speak with Putin at 10 a.m. today to discuss the possibility of a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. President Trump said in a post on Truth Social, the subjects of the call will be stopping the bloodbath that is killing, on average, more than 5,000 Russian and Ukraine soldiers a week, and trade. Hopefully, it will be a productive day. A ceasefire will take place, and this very violent war, a war that should never have happened, will end. God bless us all. But before the call, Russia launched another drone attack on Ukraine, and it was the largest such operation since the outbreak of the Russia-Ukraine war. The Ukrainian military said that after a full night of airstrikes as of 8 a.m. local time Sunday, the Russian military launched a total of 273 drones to attack a number of cities, the scale of which exceeded the operations in February this year. The Ukrainian intelligence agency also said that Moscow had planned to launch an intercontinental ballistic missile later on Sunday. However, there was no immediate response from the Russian side to this claim. But Russia's defense ministry said on Monday that it had downed 35 Ukrainian drones overnight. So in hopes of ending the bloodshed as soon as possible, President Trump called President Putin this morning. The call between Presidents Trump and Putin lasted about 2 hours and 5 minutes today. Both leaders indicated that the call went very well.
We just spent 2.5 hours talking to Vladimir Putin, and I think some progress has been made. It's a terrible situation going on over there. 5,000 young people every single week are being killed. So hopefully we did something. We also spoke to the heads of most of the European nations, and we're trying to get that whole thing wrapped up. What a shame that it ever started in the first place. So,
according to the Russian news agency TASS, Putin said a ceasefire with Ukraine is possible upon reaching the relevant agreements. And after the call, President Trump posted, Russia and Ukraine will immediately start negotiations toward a ceasefire and, more importantly, an end to the war. President Trump also indicated in his post that he spoke with Ukrainian President Zelensky and other European leaders immediately after his call with Putin. President Trump said that he informed Zelensky and other European leaders that negotiations would begin immediately. And another interesting outcome from the call was that the Vatican, as represented by the Pope, is interested in hosting the peace talk negotiations.
I think it would be great to have it at the Vatican. Maybe it would have some extra significance. And I saw that it was discussed yesterday, so I thought, and people told me that they'd be honored to do it. I would imagine they would be. So, no, I think it would be maybe helpful. There's tremendous bitterness, anger. And I think maybe that could help some of that anger. So having it at the Vatican would be, in Rome, would be I think it would be a great idea. Thank you.
And according to the Times of Israel, Kremlin aide Yuri Ushakov said that during the call, Putin also welcomed progress in talks between the U.S. and Iran on Tehran's nuclear program. Putin offered Russia's help in this regard. And also today, after the call with President Putin, President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump arrived together in the Rose Garden for the signing of the Take It Down Act, which is a crucial step in protecting our children from predatory behavior online.
It's an honor to join you here today for the signing of the Take It Down Act, a national victory that will help parents and families protect children from online exploitation. This legislation is a powerful step forward in our efforts to ensure that every American, especially young people, can feel better protected from their image or identity being abused through non-consensual or intimate imagery of I and CII. Artificial intelligence and social media are the digital candy for the next generation. Sweet, addictive, and engineered to have an impact on the cognitive development of our children. But unlike sugar, these new technologies can be weaponized, shape beliefs, and sadly affect emotions and even be deadly.
And another piece of positive news is that the Big Beautiful Bill, which includes no tax on tips, has officially passed the House Budget Committee.
Are there any members who have not voted or wish to change their vote? If not, The clerk will report.
Mr. Chair, on the vote, there were 21 ayes and 16 noes.
The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to.
The bill's passage by the Budget Committee marks a major win for President Trump and House Speaker Mike Johnson after the bill's earlier failure. At about 8:30 p.m. on Saturday, a 270-foot Mexican Navy training ship carrying 277 people crashed into the underside of the Brooklyn Bridge. Flags and debris from the ship plummeted onto the deck and into the water below as the vessel rocked back and forth, pushing its way under the landmark. Crew members were standing on the top of masts as it struck the bridge, leaving them dangling hundreds of feet in the air over the deck. New York Mayor Eric Adams said that 19 people were injured in the incident, including 2 who died from their injuries and 2 who remain in critical condition. The cause of the accident is still under investigation. Officials told a press briefing that preliminary information indicated that a mechanical problem may have caused the vessel to deviate from its course and collide with the bridge. The ship had just left a Manhattan pier and was supposed to be heading out to sea and not toward the bridge. Romania held a crucial presidential election runoff on Sunday. George Simion, the right-wing candidate who was favored by all parties beforehand, lost to Necusar Dan, the centrist candidate and the mayor of Bucharest. After counting results from about 98% of the polling stations, Dan received about 54% of the vote, while Simion received about 46% of the vote. The turnout was 65%, which was the highest since 1996. Simion is the founder of the Romanian right-wing party, the Alliance of Romanians United. In the first round, on May 4th, he led the other candidates with about 40.6% of the vote. Dan, who is an independent candidate, advanced to the final round with about 21% of the vote. At that time, we described Simion's policies of opposing military aid to neighboring Ukraine, criticizing the EU leadership, and supporting President Trump's Make America Great Again campaign. Dan, for his part, campaigned on promises to fight rampant corruption and to support the European Union, NATO, and Ukraine. Dan said, elections are about communities, and in today's election, a community of Romanians who want a profound change, and Romania won. It's a moment of hope. Dan, who is 55, is a scholarly man. He was a gifted mathematician before entering politics, and he speaks in a gentle manner. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you so much for your support of Front Page. Please remember to leave us a comment below the video. This is really helping us to be seen all around the world. The more people who watch Front Page, the more freedom-loving people the world will have. And please, hit the like button and hit the notification bell after you subscribe. And please share this video with your friends and family because everybody deserves to know the truth.